I've actually been in the industry about 20 years, started as a little hobby business, and ran that for a couple of years, just like a lot of people do, a little side hustle. And then in 2006, we actually incorporated my last business. And then back in 2021, that business was acquired. And yeah, I mean, you see a lot of sort of origin stories now, and it's, oh, I couldn't find anything on the pet market that I thought was honest or suited my dog or whatever. And, you know, back then that was actually the case. So I had this back back in the early 2000s, I had my first dog of my very own, as an adult living on my own effectively. And I'm one of these people, I've always had rescues. I love animals. I was that child that, your mother came home and you said, I've got a pigeon in a box. It's got a sore leg. Can you take me to the vet to get this fixed? That was me. So I took on this dog, and he was old. He was scabby. He was, everything was wrong with him. He'd broken teeth, and I couldn't get him to eat kibble, and I couldn't get him to, he'd been living off whatever he could. And same stories as I'm sure a lot of people find with rescues, sometimes particularly if they've been on the street or whatever. So I had this old dog, and I was desperately searching for something to help me with his skin, because he was so itchy. If we were out for a walk and it would rain, he would just itch like mad, and parts of his skin he was a white dog, and parts of his skin had turned black through just having loads of infection over the years and things like that. So really that was what got me started on the road of, how can I kind of help here? How can I make things better for him? And got me interested in diet and nutrition, and adding things into his diet that might actually help him, rather than just throwing meds at him. So that was where we started really. And then the business came out of that when I realized so many other people were in the same boat. So the previous business that we had supplements, we had a wild fish oil product, we had a salmon oil product. And I know those are sort of frowned upon a bit nowadays, but 15, 16 years ago, they were pretty cutting edge. And you weren't finding things like that necessarily in kibble. And yeah, so we went from there and slowly kind of grew the business. And really, I guess, we'd grown quite considerably, but actually mostly we were in shops and things like that. But actually our e-commerce side really, really started to grow from about 2018. And then obviously COVID came along, and I run the business with my husband, who's not forward facing in it. He likes to be behind the scenes. He's a graphic designer by nature, by career. So when COVID started to first be talked about, Ken, my husband, he's really intuitive about things, and he said, you know what, I don't like this coming out of China, because is that not where the pumps for our bottles come from and various things like that? And I said, yeah, they do. And he said, you know what, I don't like this. Shall we not take a salary for a couple of months and just really stock up on everything? And we did. We took a real punt there. We ordered a lot of extra stock, because we knew we'd sell it anyway, but just as a bit of a kind of a trying to negate any risk that might come. So we did this. And when COVID hit, as you well know, as everybody knows, e-commerce sales went mad, went through the roof, and a lot of people ran out of stock very quickly. A lot of people were sort of saying, I know for a fact a lot of people were saying to suppliers, I'll pay you 20% extra if you bump me up the queue to get me stock. But the problem was we were short of so many things. But we had been really lucky, because we had sort of anticipated that there might be kind of delays in the supply chain. So we were very lucky, and we grew quite a bit in the first part of COVID, because we had stock where other people didn't. So we kind of read the room quite well. So we had this, we'd had this lovely kind of trajectory going up before that, and then this hit, and everything just went crackers, as you know. And then in 2021, started getting a few messages through saying, we're interested in buying your business. And we thought it was just silly scam stuff. Until we got a phone call one day and did a little bit of research and actually realized that it wasn't. So we ended up selling our business at that point. We got an offer that was too good to refuse. And we'd three of them actually sort of after us at one point. So so we got a really good offer, but I had wanted to stay in the pet trade. So in Northern Ireland, I'm not sure how it is actually in England, Scotland and Wales, but in Northern Ireland, a lot of people, if you buy a business, they want in the contract for you not to be in that industry anymore. So, like non-compete, stay out of the pet trade. So Northern Ireland, you can't do that. If that's your business and that's the industry that you're in and the industry that you know and that you're used to working in, they see that as, well, you can't take away somebody's right to work in the industry that they know. So we were very lucky. We had a very, very good acquisitions lawyer who's a friend of mine. And she negotiated in that we could have another pet business and that, we could do anything that wasn't going to be directly competing with what we previously did, which we didn't want to do anyway. And at the time, I had been back in June. This all happened sort of around about the September, to the beginning of September. And back that June, I had decided that I would like a bone broth product. So I'd done a lot of work into researching this and seeing what we could do, where we could go. So I kept that back to start the new business, and that is where Carnley came from.